back to Old Moon Radio. Today is Friday, November 13th. I'm Chris here with Ian. Ian, how's it going, my friend?
Pretty good. Excited to get into something a little different for our second episode.
Yeah, second episode of the rebranded Old Moon Radio podcast. Our first non-jam band performer. So definitely a different direction. And the podcast isn't the only thing that went in a different direction. Ian, you got a haircut.
Yeah, it's time to go back to short hair for a bit.
Nice. I like it. Well, it looks great. And let's just get into it. Today we are covering Lord Huron, one of my favorite bands. I got all the merch on. I got the hat, I got the shirt, and we're more specifically covering the first episode of their web series, Alive at Whispering Pines. It's on YouTube. It came out originally as a DVD. It aired in 2021. And we'll talk a little bit more about the cinematic aspect of this web series and stuff, I'm sure, throughout the episode. Ian, just kind of first takes on what you watched. I had seen this before. Have you seen this before the podcast?
No, this was my first time watching it. I knew there's like a couple episodes, but this is like them splitting up the DVD.
Yes,
And
exactly. So what happened was they aired it during COVID as a promotional piece to their album Long Lost in 2021. So this aired from about January through probably through February. It was only 4 weeks. So it was like a weekly drop, and then they released it as a DVD. So yeah, it really represents the reason I wanted to watch this instead of just reviewing like a Lord Huron album is I think this really represents who they are as a band. They're storytellers. They're very cinematic in their songs as you can see, their visuals. And this episode also covers songs from across their catalog, and it's all reinterpretations. So it's not performed as the song was performed on the studio album. They put a different twist into it, which I thought was really neat too.
Mhm. Yeah, I definitely like what you think of Lord Huron in terms of vibes, like very ambient and like a lot of their albums are kind of like in the unknown and in kind of like the quiet woods, stuff like that. So that definitely what you kind of expect from them top level.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Let's talk about that. So to start the episode, we get a countdown on a TV that looks like a 60s, 70s living room. It says Deep in the Night, broadcasting from way out there, live from Whispering Pines, and we meet the host of the episode, Tubbs Tarbell. So a little bit about Tubbs. I found this on the Lord Huron wiki. He is all in universe in Lord Huron universe. He's a music and TV producer and the founder of Whispering Pines Studios, the studio that this show is set in, and the record label used by artists and musicians featured in the Lord Huron universe, who we meet a little bit later in the episode. So just really cool off the bat that they're mixing real life, like the band Lord Huron, with their in-universe fiction and lore.
Yeah, and you probably know more about this than me, but Whispering Pines is a studio that they at least still have in LA that they renovated and recorded some stuff at.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know if what we're seeing was just a set or if it's the actual studio that they actually record in. It would be cool to know, but very much feels like a set because there's Easter eggs all around on the walls,
Mhm.
um, on the desks and whatnot. And I'll point out a few of those Easter eggs as we go. But enough world exposition. We can just talk about the songs and the music. The first one we get is Meet Me in the Woods. This is one of Lord Huron's most popular songs from 2015 album Strange Trails. Ian, I know that this is a big album for you. You listened to this one a lot back in the day, right?
Yes, this was the album that I discovered the Huron Fuel for.
Hmm.
Bought it on vinyl when it came out. Um, Probably like I don't know. It's always what I think of Lord Huron when I think about the band is this sort of album and sort of like the ambient indie kind of vibe.
I would say this was probably their most successful album, mostly because it had The Night We Met on it, which blew up because of 13 Reasons Why and whatnot. But yeah, this is a great album, and what I really like about Meet Me in the Woods specifically is it shares the same chords as The Night We Met and Love Like Ghosts. And Love Like
Yeah.
Ghosts was the album opener, and Night We Met is the closer. So it's just like a very cohesive album, and just really cool thematically how the songs are literally tied together in their structure.
Yeah, I think it's a great album and probably like a very correct start for this sort of series is to start out with like like the shot of like in it like truly like in the woods
Hmm.
where the recording studio is in this universe and sort of like the feeling of like being alone.
Yeah, I didn't even put that together that like they're in the woods and then the first song was Meet Me in the Woods. That's pretty cool. I'm sure that that was probably intentional. This performance of Meet Me in the Woods 2 compared to the album version, this is a bit more muted, heavy pads. There's a lot of pads and synths throughout this whole episode.
I guess the only thing I want to mention too is it's a 10-year anniversary of this album as well.
Oh wow. Yeah, I
Came out in
didn't even realize that.
2015.
Oh, that's right. I think they did do a show at Red Rocks earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken, to celebrate 10 years of Strange Trails. Anyways, second song is Son of a Gun. This is from one of their deeper cuts from their EP Mighty in 2010. But I think that this version is better than the like original EP version. Because this is a lot more like up what I prefer, which is like the guitar harmonica kind of rambling folk feel. The EP version's cool, but it's a lot more like ethereal. So just a good example of how the reinterpretations are actually like adding to the music, in my opinion.
Yeah, so like this is the the oldest song that they played during this
Hmm.
episode, and I don't know, like yeah, like it felt pretty interesting. Still, like what I noticed at this point too, especially coming out of Mimi in the Woods, was like really not a lot of percussion, like very still ambient.
Yeah.
Um, that would continue for most of this episode.
Yeah, that's a great point. I noted that as well. Very like brush heavy drums. I don't know what that means, but it sounds right. So, next we get Secret of Life. This was really cool, black and white, cool like skeleton imagery going into it. Secret of Life is one of their my favorite songs off their 2018 noir album, V Noir. That's an incredible album. It even has a movie named after it. So yeah, Secret of Life, this was a really cool, like a lot of drive to this song.
Yeah, I thought this was really cool too. This is an album that like I listened to when it came out. I didn't really listen to it too much, but maybe want to revisit.
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of a different direction. It came immediately after Strange Trails in terms of their succession of albums. There was like 3 years in between. But yeah, I think it threw a lot of people off because it's not just like the acoustic guitars, it's like a noir rock album. So it's very different, but this was a cool version of Secret of Life. And then just real quickly, we get an interlude, which features a midnight movie clip that appears to depict the events of the song Dead Man's Hand off Strange Trails in 2015 with a couple of in-universe characters. So that was a really cool clip in between. And then we get Tubbs, our host, reading a book called Lonesome Dreams by George Ranger Johnson. Of course, a reference to their 2012 album, Lonesome Dreams, which then leads into the title track off that album, Lonesome Dreams. So just a really cool tie together there. I thought this Lonesome Dreams was really cool. There was a lot of synth to it. It felt like a late night drive through the city, which is kind of what the visuals were depicting, like a neon 1950s-ish city. Totally different than the original version of Lonesome Dreams, but I really liked it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, like I was trying to figure out like what they were doing. So you think it was just like a alternate universe city? Because I thought they were in Vegas. I was like, why are they in Vegas? Like that seems
Uh, it
like
did
I
look
guess
like,
that does fit with like the 1950s theme. So
yeah, it did kind of look like Vegas. Yeah, I think it's like an in-universe fictional city type vibe, if I had to guess. But yeah, that was pretty neat. Just some of the Easter eggs on the wall in this song. Behind the drummer, Mark Berry, was a painting of two in universe characters, Donnie and Midge, who sing the song I Lied, which had not yet been released. So they were kind of teasing the release of that song from the very start of this web series because that came at the end. So I thought that was neat. And then it was cool at the end, the outro, like tuning the old radio in and out to like end the song was like a pretty cool, like fuzzy way to end it, I thought.
yeah, I think accompanies the visual. So like a lot of like overlaid shots, a lot of like like kind of like faux film blurriness.
We get a few more interlude clips teasing the night we met on the harp, a retro ad for Michigan's Upper Peninsula, a homage to Lord Huron's roots being from Michigan. And then we get 20 Long Years, which, again, this one had not been released yet either. This was off long lost. So they were first kind of playing it here on the episode. And this is one of my favorite Lord Huron songs. It's a very slow country ballad about a person down on their luck after, I guess, 20 years. What do you think about this song?
Yeah, no, I love this song. This was one that I listened to a lot when it came out.
Hmm.
Like this one and I Lied are probably the two favorites off the album. Yeah, it was cool that they're kind of I wasn't clear of the timing when I was listening to this, so like I didn't really pick up that this was a song that like probably like technically hadn't come out yet.
Yeah, it's cool that they were like teasing them throughout. But yeah, so this that was pretty cool. And then we go into another like movie. This is like a movie trailer for the song "Drops on the Lake" again off the Long Lost album. And then we go into the song "In the Wind" again off their 2012 debut "Lonesome Dreams." So, and I think it stays that way until the end of the episode. So a very heavy "Lonesome Dreams" episode.
Even before this song, I really loved this skit. I thought it was really funny that they had like the skeleton is like like clearly a prop, but like it's just like stuck, and they're obviously just like at the bottom, like rotating. It's going like this. I thought it was really funny. I really like this. I don't remember the album version of this song. I thought this was cool because it's just guitar and like synth, right? On this, which I don't think is that how it is on the album.
It sounds similar to the album version, but I'd have to re-listen because it's not a song that I listen to a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought the shots were really cool of like the guitar and then the synth and then like the kind of like merging, doing like a lot of the overlay that they did earlier in the in this that like they sort of like had one on each side and kind of overlaid the shot. I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And cool made like a really cool pared down visual as along with like the audio of the song too.
We go into Tubbs reading a hotline for a live from Whispering Pines, which, if you call that number, which I did tonight, it actually takes you to a voice reading off the track list for their most recent 2025 album, The Cosmic Selector. So they kept the line but changed the message, which is kind of funny. But I just thought that was neat that you could actually call that. So back in 2021, I'm sure people were calling that to request the songs and leave a message. We go into Setting Sun, which is the bonus B-side track from Lonesome Dreams.
Yeah, I was curious because I was looking this up and it's obviously like styled like Lonesome Dreams. Like so it was released as a single and the cover for the single is basically like it is the Lonesome Dreams cover except with the song title replacing the album cover. But it's actually not on the album
Yeah.
as it is streaming currently. Like I don't know if it was like taken off like the early recordings of it or the early pressings of the album. So I thought that was interesting. Like even the Wikipedia page has the album as Lonesome Dreams, but not technically on the album, and released 8 years later as a single.
Yeah,
So kind of
it's had a
interesting.
really weird lifespan. I think sometime somewhere it was released as some sort of bonus track to the album or something, and then yeah, as you said, they released it later on streaming as a single in 2020. So it's kind of like Lord Huron itself, a little bit of a mysterious song as to where its origins lie. And then we get a Whispering Pines advertisement, and I thought this was really cool because it's just world building. It's like an advertisement for all the different artists that have played in the studio throughout the years. And what's really cool is I'm pretty sure Ben Schneider, the lead singer from Lord Huron, painted all of those album covers. I know he painted the Long Lost cover. Really artistic and cool to see the names like Roy Casey, Frankie Lou, Donnie and Midge. They're Lord Huron characters that come up a lot in their different songs and so forth.
Mhm. One thing I think it was around this time. I'd have to go back and check, but an Easter egg that I really didn't pick up until just now, looking at the album art, was like, is these are on this or the skit before where they have they have Tubbs like saying something, and like the shot is like him in his cowboy hat and suit,
Hmm.
with like the face blurred, just
Hmm.
like the style of Long Lost, and then
Yeah.
probably most similar to the album art for the or album art the cover art for the I Lied single, which is like a reporter with a cowboy hat with a blurred face. I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool how they like the times blur element, and that ties into the whole Long Lost album and the themes throughout the lyrics and the songs, but really like the passing of time and the blurring of memory and fact and fiction and all that stuff. Someone can probably explain it a lot better than you and I can, but it's a cool concept for sure. And then we go into the last song of the night after Tubbs bids us farewell with his signature sign off, May You Live Until You Die. And that is Lullaby off Lonesome Dreams again. I'm assuming this is the last song to Lonesome Dreams. I didn't actually look that up.
Yeah, so it's the third to last song on Lonesome Dreams
Oh, interesting.
before Brother and In the Wind.
Okay, so In the
Wait,
Wind ends it. Interesting.
yeah, but also a fitting end to this video
Hmm.
for Alive at Whispering Pines.
Yeah.
Um, and ultimately a lot of debut album songs, which I think is interesting for like where this sits
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, that was kind of the theme of the night was Lonesome Dreams reinterpreted. I liked it. Out of all of this series, I don't think it's my favorite one. I forget which one's my favorite one, but I don't think it was number one. I think there's another one that has more songs that I really enjoyed. But overall, I know I asked you at the beginning of the episode, but now that we've gone through it, kind of what are your like final thoughts on this piece of art?
I think it's really cool for a couple of reasons. One, like it's cool to do this, call it like 10 years after the band started releasing albums, to
Mhm.
kind of give them a chance to reshuffle and recontextualize some of the stuff they've already put out. I think stuff like this, maybe this is a little longer than the other examples that I'm thinking of, but I like when bands put out like almost like a mini album, especially on like YouTube. I know this was live originally for that one.
Yeah,
It's been I think more common the past couple of years to do like a 14 to 20 minute medley than just like one song live or something. So this is I think a really cool example of that, and obviously the production values like they put a lot of effort into this, and
hmm,
it's really cool to see it as an example of like album promotion, I guess too.
yeah, definitely. I think it should be released as a live album one day, like on streaming, because I would love to listen to these songs on streaming because they are different than the album versions and they sound cool. So it'd be cool to get an album version of it. That way I don't have to pull up YouTube on my phone every time and listen that way. But yeah, definitely interesting when you look at it in terms of marketing and album promotion. That would be a fascinating case study if I was in like grad school for like marketing or something. I'm gonna pocket that in case for some reason that ever happens one day. I really enjoyed it too, and I think that it adds to their lore as a band and like the greater story of what they're trying to achieve. So not only was it a cool project for the album, but really in terms of like whatever they set up in the future, because the Cosmic Selector, which is the jukebox on the cover of their most recent album, that is actually featured in Alive from Whispering Pines. So they had like the seeds planted even back then for this album in 2025. They probably didn't know they were going to make an album based off it, but neat that they went back and like built from what they already
Yeah,
had
are
established.
taking some of this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, definitely follow us on Instagram at Old Moon Radio to stay posted on what our next episode will be. We're trying to be a little more consistent for you here. We took a little time off in between Dead to the Code to the transition to Old Moon Radio. So definitely follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube if you're not watching on YouTube right now, because we post some shorts there and some video clips as well. So we appreciate you tuning in, and may you live until you die.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time.